Since this is the 100-year anniversary of Our Lady's appearances at Fatima, I'd like to tell that story. So our story revolves around three peasant children: Lucia, who was age 10, her cousin Francisco, who was age 9, and his little sister Jacinta, who was 7. This takes place between May of 1917 and October of 1917. Now these three children were little peasant children. They were Catholic, and they lived in a country in Portugal. Every afternoon they would pray the rosary, but being children who would rather play than pray, they had started to abbreviate the rosary so that they would only say Our Father instead of the whole prayer, and Hail Mary. Well, at any rate, the place where they lived in Portugal was a very rural, very quiet and serene place. It was largely unaffected by events that were playing out on the world stage, namely World War I. So on May 13th of 1917, the children were, as usual, out in the fields shepherding the family sheep and goats, when, as Lucia described, a lady all in white, more brilliant than the sun, indescribably beautiful, not sad, not happy, but serious, appeared to them standing above a bush. The children were understandably frightened and surprised, but the lady spoke to them and said, "Don't be afraid, I won't hurt you." At these words, the children experienced joy and peace. Our Lady appeared to the children each month for 6 months on the 13th of the month, and each time that she came to them, she asked them to pray the rosary every day for peace and an end to the war. She asked them to suffer, to save souls, and she urged them again to meet her every month on the 13th at the same place at the same hour. She promised that Jacinta would go to heaven soon, and that Francisco also would go to heaven soon, but only after many rosaries. So apparently he had some work to do. Lucia suffered greatly, mostly from her family's disbelief. They just couldn't believe that Our Lady would appear to Lucia. But at any rate, when Our Lady appeared to them in June, she asked Lucia to learn to read. Remember, these were peasant children and pretty much uneducated. She again said that she would take Jacinta and Francisco to heaven fairly soon. Well, this worried Lucia because that meant that she would be left alone without her beloved cousins. But Our Lady reassured her that she would not forsake Lucia, and that her Immaculate Heart would be Lucia's refuge as well as the road to God for Lucia. Lucia's family continued to be skeptical about all of this. Her mother even went so far as to call her a good-for-nothing liar. Now in July, Our Lady again appeared to the children. This appearance was very disturbing for the children because Our Lady showed them a vision of hell, and what they saw was a place that was filled with demons and these red-hot coals that were transparent and kind of black or bronze-colored, and they had a human form, and they heard shrieks and groans of sorrow and despair. They were greatly frightened by this. But Our Lady told them that devotion to her Immaculate Heart would save souls and bring peace. But that without this devotion, there would be another far worse war, and that it would happen during the reign of Pope Pius XI. She also told them that Russia was God's instrument of chastisement, and that Russia would spread errors of atheism and materialism, would foment wars and annihilate nations, and would persecute the faithful everywhere. She told them that the good would be martyred and that the Holy Father would suffer much. But to prevent this terrible chastisement by Russia, all that had to be done was that the Pope and all the bishops of the world make a public consecration of Russia to her Immaculate Heart. The final secret that she shared with them was of a bishop dressed in white who was shot by a group of soldiers who fired bullets and arrows into him. Later, this was linked to the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II in 1981. In August of 1917, a few days before the 13th, the local administrator of the district, who was very much anti-Catholic, kidnapped the children to prevent them from meeting with Our Lady on the 13th. However, on the 19th of August, Our Lady graciously appeared to them, and she told them that there would be a miracle that would occur in the last month that she appeared to them. In September, they again met with her on the 13th of September at the Cova. At this particular time, many people had heard about these appearances, and so many people gathered with the children at the Cova. And while they were there, although they did not see Our Lady, what they did see was a luminous globe that appeared to move from east to west. Now, this was the way Our Lady always appeared to the children. She would move from east to west until she was atop that bush. And she told them that she promised them a miracle would happen in October that would bring people to belief. So October 13th, 1917, the day was miserable. It was raining, there were dark clouds, it was awful. But still, along with the children were 70,000 people waiting just for Our Lady's appearance. She did appear, and she asked the children that a chapel be built on that site. She told them that she was Our Lady of the Rosary. All of a sudden, the clouds parted and the sun came out. Well, one of the miraculous things about this was that the people were able to look directly at the sun without any damage to their eyes. But then, a more miraculous thing happened was that the sun's rays, the light shone down on the children, but not just the regular light. It was light in all the colors of the rainbow, shone down on everyone who was there for Our Lady's appearances. And then the sun appeared to dance in the sky. This was the way everyone described it when they were interviewed later. And as a result of Our Lady's appearances to the children, these 3 little peasant children in Fatima, many came to believe, and many became devoted to the Immaculate Heart of Our Lady. I hope you've enjoyed this story about the 3 shepherd children and Our Lady of Fatima.